You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode number 88. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Jeff Barnhart, two-fisted comic-punching secret agent, the one with a fist of steel.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as Jeff has alluded to, we will be talking about Sarge Steel today. But let me do our little station identification first. Comic Reflections is a proud member of the Rhymes with Geek podcast network. You can listen to our program and plenty of other cool podcasts like Anti-Fanboy, Feed It Comics, Super Podcast of Magnifico, and others, plus cool articles and other nerdy junk at rhymeswithgeek.com.
Yep, we appreciate it.
Yeah. So today is our fourth and last, for now, part of a series looking specifically at Charlton Comics. And today we're going to look at some books from their Action Heroes line. And Charlton, in 1966, Marvel Comics was exploding. The Batman television series was on and really caused a surge in public awareness and sales in the comic book industry in general. And superheroes were everywhere. Mm-hmm. And Charlton wanted to get in on the superhero game as well. They decided to call, instead of superheroes, they wanted to call them action heroes. And of course, we got the revamped Blue Beetle. They brought back Captain Atom. We got Peter Cannon Thunderbolt, who we'll talk about today. Mm-hmm. The Judo Master, who was probably the first martial arts superhero. Mm-hmm. Sarge Steel, and there's a couple others. I'm sure I'm just blanking on them right now.
Oh, wasn't it Atom Man or
Captain Atom?
Captain Atom.
Yeah. But really a fun group of characters. Oh, and then there was the Question also, and Nightshade. But a fun time, and under the editorial reigns of Dick Giordano, who would later go on to do great things over at DC Comics. The Action Hero line was kind of short-lived. Mm-hmm. Charlton said, make superheroes, but then when it weren't giant sales, they got canceled. But for 2 years-ish, this was a thing. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, good try.
Yeah, and it's funny, though, if Charlton had poor distribution, and, I mean, I read a thing recently, like, they mainly got distributed in the Northeast and Canada, and then just about everywhere else in America, pretty spotty. Now, they did go overseas, but, people on the West Coast probably didn't get the Charltons so much. And, that being a problem, and the fact that they paid, the lowest rates in the industry, and didn't want to pay for promotion. I mean, Charlton had such an advantage because they had everything in-house, but they didn't play that advantage to build a comic line because they saw themselves as junk dealers, and that's what they were.
Too bad.
Yeah, because, I mean, they could have been a real force to be reckoned with.
Wouldn't it be interesting if we had a world of 3 major comic book companies? What would have... I don't know. Yeah. How would that have changed things? It would have been interesting to...
I mean, I think DC's struggles in the 70s would have been more profound if Charlton gave a crap and really tried to make their comic line compete with Marvel and DC.
It would be sad, though, DC had fallen. Although I'm not a huge fan of modern comics, but I don't know if I want to live in a world without Superman.
Right, and I think there was a time in the 70s where, once Warner Brothers took control, they really wanted to reduce the line just to a handful of titles and just reprints. Mm-hmm. Just to kind of keep the popular big names in the copyright going, which would have been interesting. Yeah. Would we still remember Superman and Batman as these icons if they faded so early? We're talking 40 years ago? Yeah, 70s?
Yeah, although then in the 70s we get the Superman movie, then we get the Batman
late
movie.
70s, The late 70s is when DC bounced back. And then the early 80s was a really actually the whole decade of the 80s was a wonderful time for DC. They really did some of their best stuff ever at that time. So the 80s and the Silver Age, great. 1970s, boy, we're spotty.
Yeah, DC. Some good Marvel stuff though.
Yeah, and we'll talk about. I mean, we always talk about that stuff, and we will in the future. But let's talk about Sarge Steel and Charlton.
Yeah, he's kind of like Sergeant Rock. I'm not sure there's any connection, but it's like Sergeant Rock is a super secret agent, and because at this time we had James Bond, which is hugely popular, then Man from U.N.C.L.E., we had the Avengers, the British,
right,
which is I like the Avengers of Diana Rigg. Those are great. And Man from U.N.C.L.E. is kind of fun.
It is. I've seen a little bit of that.
Spy with Bill Cosby as the first.
Yeah, I mean the '60s was Spy.
Actor who's he was co-lead, and that's really important.
Right. And America was pretty spy crazy in the '60s. The Cold War, and this is fun entertainment. And Sarge Steel is interesting because he's a secret agent, but he seems really detective-y too. There's some hard-boiled kind of stuff going on. And he lost a hand in Vietnam, and now he's got this steel hand. That's always in a fist, it seems.
Yeah.
So it's not robotic or anything like that. It's a prosthetic that he, so.
No, it'll hurt if it hits you.
Right. So yeah, Sarge Steel #7 is what we're looking at today, and the lead story is called "The Day They Killed Sarge Steel," written by Joe Gill with art by Dick Giordano. What a double threat! He's the editor and this terrific artist. He inked a lot of Irv Novik's Batman work in the '70s, as I recall. I think it's Irv Novik, but yeah.
First page is Sarge Steel getting shot. And so what's going on, there's this group called POW, Prosecutors of the World?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Did I remember that right? It sounds so stupid. It can't be true. But
it is dumb, but it's so very... What was the enemy on Uncle?
Thrush,
yeah. This is just as bad as that.
Spectre was
the Bond villains.
And Smersh was the original. Smersh was actually a real Soviet Union group.
Really?
I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I think the Thunder Agents, who I think we're in the near future, I don't know exactly when, we're going to do like a two-parter on the Thunder Agents in the Silver Age. And they had an enemy group called Spider. And that was an acronym for something.
Oh, what was the Don Adams comedy?
Oh, Get Smart.
Yeah, it was Chaos and Control.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Sarge Steel.
Okay, so we see, well, it's a James Bond character, but his name is really Peter Potter, and he gets blown up with a grenade. And then we get this Russian guy who's their top secret agent is leading a prisoner, and when he gets killed by, I'm not sure how he gets killed.
Maybe they get him poison dart or something.
Yeah, he just dies.
Maybe.
So then we see in a couple of nice feminine hands, POW, Top Secret List of Elimination. What a great title.
Yeah, and Sarge Steel is on the top of this list, and everyone else on the list has been eliminated.
Except for Nicole Planchet of France.
Oh, that's right.
So we have Red China, Mexico, Japan, USSR, Great Britain.
Interesting that there are commies on this list to be eliminated, rather than the enemy or communists.
Yeah.
So this POW, they're just against governments of any kind.
So we got Roja, which is a super babe, red-eyed, but it doesn't look red-eyed in the
the thing that Charlton is, sometimes, the writer or artist might have like color, guides or whatever that were, notes ignored. In the margin ignored by the gals who did the color separation. So
yeah, all right. She's a beautiful blonde.
She's probably an albino. She's got red eyes and platinum blonde hair.
Yeah, she's Vavavoumi.
Yeah, of course.
And the Eric Wren is. What's up with his eyes? He looks like he's hypnotized.
But he's got these just big Coke bottle glasses, is what that is.
Yeah, but it looks like the circles on it. It's kind of weirdly drawn.
He's the Jasper Sitwell of the bad guy set here.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what they're doing, they're killing all these secret agents, and then when they kill them all, then everyone's going to be afraid of them, and that's going to be so they can take over the world. Okay. If you say so.
Yeah, right.
So let me see. Sarge Steel gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. And apparently he's dead. But is he?
Yeah. I want to stop for a second. We got this terrific house ad for talking about the greatest action heroes of all time on sale now, and we've got the Fightin' Five, Son of Vulcan, Sarge Steel, and the original Blue Beetle. This is not the Ditko revamp, but Charlton did some new material with the Golden Age Blue Beetle, Dan Garrett, and Captain Atom and stuff. So
yeah, it looked interesting.
yeah, Son of Vulcan is Roy Thomas's first comic book writing is in at the final issue of Son of Vulcan.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah,
interesting. All right. Apparently, the French agent died from poison perfume. Well, that's the Achilles heel of any French woman is a perfume bottle.
Oh, I hate it when you replace my perfume with nerve gas. Waka waka waka.
So Sarge Steel's lying in state, and this guy sneaks in, and then
into the morgue.
It's not. It doesn't look like a morgue. It looks like a hospital room.
Okay,
but what morgue has a little nightstand with a mirror?
Okay, he's in the hospital.
But supposedly he's dead. So this guy comes in and he holds his breath and has that poison nerve gas spray, and he's holding his breath, which is one of the stupidest things ever.
Why don't you just have a respirator, right?
Right.
Gas mask.
Here, not throw it in, close the window, and go home.
Right, but it gives a chance for Sarge Steel to stand up and sock this guy in the gut. Great panel.
Yeah.
And so Sarge Steel doesn't breathe in the stuff.
The other guy does.
Yeah.
You can just feel that punch almost.
Yeah, you see that the guy's got the expression of having the wind knocked out of him. It's very good. Dick Giordano's art is really wonderful. Doesn't get talked about enough.
Yep. Why does he carry a Luger? The Luger pistol is the classic German pistol, and all the bad guys in the movies, in the World War II movies, have it. But it's beautiful, well made, but it's it's not very reliable.
And it's a villain gun.
Yeah.
And why is our hero? You're right, but I mean, you think if a guy had a steel hand and a Luger, that would be your Nazi supervillain that you're gonna have,
Maybe there's a story about.
What about didn't the Iron Major from Sergeant Rock?
Right.
Didn't he have a metal hand?
Iron beats rock. No, it don't.
Did he have a metal hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it had super powers too. I don't know. It might have had a flamethrower or something like that. Or the first one, I think that he created. Maybe I think about somebody else, but
okay.
I used to have that one where they fought the first time.
Yeah, I also liked Baron Strucker from Hydra, in S.H.I.E.L.D. He had the Satan claw, that red claw that he would wear.
Yeah.
That was cool. And the hand itself had increased strength and stuff.
All right.
As I recall, but anyway.
Okay. Well, apparently Sarge Steel can call the U.S. government and get an SR-71, which remains to this day the fastest airplane ever made.
Right. So, is that the Blackbird?
Yeah.
It is?
Is that the name of it?
Because I'm looking at the plane and it looks like the Blackbird from the X-Men, only it's white.
Yeah.
And I know that the Blackbird's a real plane. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yep, it's black, yeah.
But, so Sarge Steel was faking his death.
Right.
So anyway, he's going to go after Pow.
Then it's in Switzerland.
Right.
I guess they know where it's at. They can't just bomb the crap out of it, but they got to send in one person, Sarge Steel, and then a dog attacks him, but it's controlled by this beautiful French woman who's also Baba Boomy.
Mm-hmm. This was the other chick on the list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nicole Planchet.
Mm-hmm.
So he helps her over
This barbed wire fence or whatever.
Barbed wire fence. And then him and the dog just jump over it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. So they go up.
There's a minefield leading up to like the fortress or whatever, and the dog kind of leads the way, setting off mines as he goes, but not getting blown up.
That sounds stupid as hell, but it's actually true. When there were, I think it was Sudan or the country underneath Libya was fighting against the Libyans.
Yeah.
In the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
They would drive these Toyota trucks.
Mm-hmm.
The international Toyota truck, which is tough as nails.
Right.
They would just drive through minefields so fast that the mines would blow up behind them.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
man, you really got to be gunning it, but yeah.
And they beat the crap out of the Libyans. It's really embarrassing.
Well, good, right?
Yeah.
The Sudanese beat the Libyans, yeah. So yeah.
So okay. This doesn't seem to really alert the authorities when you're blowing up minefields.
And then somebody's shooting at them. And
they never shoot at them. They're just looking out, and then they throw in this, I don't know, this capsule going, and it knocks them out.
Okay, but Sarge Steel does get captured.
Yeah.
And the chick too.
Mm-hmm. Duh. So then we have, all right. So the two chicks meet each other.
Oh, Roja
and Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you expect this huge fight, but really, I don't know. She wants to Roja,
mm-hmm.
or Roja,
whatever we want to call her.
She wants Sarge to work for her,
mm-hmm.
and he says no. He says, "You're beautiful, and you give me cold chills," and that really makes her mad. Which I don't know. Women, go figure. So she tries to attack him, but she has these nails that has poison on them. So he just knocks over and knocks him into Eric, and then they run off. And that's the last you see of the bad people.
Right. Well, there's some other like henchmen as like Sarge Steel and Nicole are escaping the compound.
Now, this is the problem with. I mean, you had this.
The like, build up to like we're meeting the villains, and the fight's super quick, and they just run away.
Right. And you know.
And wait, wasn't he supposed to like capture them or something?
Oh, I think you're supposed to stop them. But you got. I mean, you don't have to have a cat fight in every comic book.
But you have
no objections. But then you have two polar opposites who are it's a perfect contrast to be a perfect fight between them, and then it just knocks him over, or knocks her over into the other guy, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah, kind of weak.
Because you want to see the bad guys suffer, and Eric and
we want some conflict, you know.
So Sarge Steel meets a sentry and destroys his gun.
It's so cool because he just puts a steel hand on the barrel of the rifle and jams it up.
Is that what he does?
Yeah. Or just stops the bullet or something.
Actually, he just he's blocked it. Yeah, he blocked it in the. Support Your Local Gunfighter has a scene where the James Garner is someone pulled a gun on James Garner, and James Garner goes, he sticks his finger into the 6 gun, and it goes, "You stuck your finger in my gun," and so he won't be able to shoot it. If he shoots it, it'll blow up. So it's a comedy. So,
right. Okay.
But it's just a really cool scene. So that's what reminded me of that. So
I would like to see Superman do that.
Yeah,
it'd be funny.
Mm-hmm. He could do it with a howitzer. So
sure.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. So he comes up and they.
Sarge Steel.
Sarge Steel and Nicole find these guys practicing to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of like the Assassins, the classic Assassins from Hassan E. Sabah.
Okay.
In Persia, they made up these, trained these assassins to go out. And this is about the.
Oh, that's probably where Ra's al Ghul's League of Assassins was based off of.
Right.
So anyway.
And Assassin's Creed, the game, was from that. So.
Oh, okay.
So, here Nicole starts crying. And she's a secret agent. Secret agents don't cry.
Right? There's no crying in baseball. Come on.
So a decent fight between them, but it's still not satisfying.
With Sarge Steel and these trained killers.
Mm-hmm.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah,
but it's
Nicole doesn't do anything here. Oh, she goes and blows up the building,
So they did stop Pow.
Yeah.
Okay. But it seemed like they were just trying to get away.
Yeah.
Like we just got here.
Yeah. I don't know. It should have been more fighting between the main bad guys and main good guys.
Right.
You just want a little bit, a page or two of fighting would have been good. But, a judo toss and that's it.
But here's the thing, and I'm agreeing with you, but also, I'm thinking of the James Bond movies. Did you ever see Bond have a big, long fist fight with Blofeld?
No. But he had a big, long fist fight with his head minion, who you knew was dangerous.
Right.
So
Jaws,
or Jaws, or Odd Job, or somebody.
Right. Okay.
But there was a main villain, but he wasn't the main villain, but he was big enough. These other guys are the minions, and you never see James Bond just fighting minions the whole dang time through.
Right. There's got to be a climactic fight with
he did fight Dr. No.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's see. From Rush with Love, this is my favorite James Bond film. He fights two people, but he never fights a head of Smersh, or Spectre. Actually, they're the same in that one because they took over from Smersh. It was kind of
interesting
in the book, anyway.
Very interesting.
But he fights major characters. And he doesn't just fight. He fights minions too, but there's a super bad guy.
Okay. And we don't have that here in Sarge Steel.
Not at all. They're just blah blah blah. So,
yeah. But they blow up the POW base, and Sarge Steel goes home, and his secretary's mad because he faked his own death and didn't tell her.
Right.
She was all sad.
Yeah.
He has a brief romance with Nicole, but
I think he gives her. Oh.
Gives her what now?
Okay. Well, ask the question.
Okay.
Here's my thanks on behalf of the whole human race, said Nicole. And then the little panel says there are other thank yous in quotes.
Oh, I see.
For special agent Sarge Steel and other tours later. I don't know. Does that mean he got something else?
Perhaps. But yeah, then he goes back to his secretary and oops, I wasn't dead. Sorry. So we've got an interesting backup story in this. It's more informational. It's called The Sport of Judo, and it's written and illustrated by Frank McLaughlin, who was a practitioner of judo, and the creator of Judo Master, that first martial arts superhero, and one of the Charlton action heroes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just shows you how to fight. I like the very last thing he says. See you in my next issue. And remember, train hard, fight clean, and be a gracious loser. That's some good words.
Yeah, and it goes on for a few pages, and it's just showing judo moves, but it's just really neat.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I wish people who play Call of Duty would read that.
Well, you can't have everything.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been a great comic, but it was merely a good one, and that's worse than just a lousy one. When it could be great and it's almost there, but a little simple thing or something could have made it really, really good. And
that's the frustrating thing about Charlton is there was a lot of potential there that was wasted by indifference.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of freedom, writers and artists, but sometimes you need the company to back you up and give a crap. And that's where Charlton failed.
Yeah, I wish somebody had inherited it and all that and was wacky. So, let's do this. So,
Well, DC owns most of the Charlton action heroes, with the exception of, I think, Peter Can and Thunderbolt. But
ooh, what a loss! But
okay. Well, we're gonna get into that shortly here. But they don't use them very much. They use the Blue Beetle and Captain Atom, and everybody else. Oh, the Peacemaker was another one. That was the other one I forgot.
I think you mentioned him.
Yeah, the Peacemaker is actually really cool. He loved peace so much he was willing to fight for it.
Cool.
And Pat Boyette drew and illustrated that, and that was Pat Boyette didn't like doing superheroes, but he loved the Peacemaker. That was his creation. So
really, why didn't you like the?
Not a lot of artists want to do superheroes. You know.
I mean, I don't. You have. You can do. You
have your own preferences.
Yeah, but I like to know why. I mean, I'm not like something or don't like something. I want to have a reason for it.
Right.
And it makes me worrisome when I like something I don't know why. And maybe it's stupid. I just like it because I like it. But I like to know why.
I understand. And sometimes I think it's just comic book artists are also storytellers, and especially Pat Boyette, because he wrote a lot of his own stuff, most of it, and he liked to do pencil and ink and everything. He liked to do the whole job. So did the artist of Thunderbolt, and we'll talk about that soon. You know what kind of stories you like to tell, and I think if somebody says, "Hey, do this superhero," like, okay, or I have other things to think. So it's just like there's different kinds of people, there's different kinds of artists and creators. Well, but why? You want to know the why.
Yeah, and what does he prefer? And, I mean, what can you not do in a superhero comic that you can do in, say, a Western or a romance?
Right. I mean,
I'm just really just...
Yeah, I mean, and Pat Boyette tended to be used for more horror books than anything else at Charlton. Which is not to say that that was the only thing he could do. Yeah. We've seen him do westerns and other stuff, but yeah.
Okay, all right. This one's for Taboo.
Yeah,
Peter Cannon, Thunderbolt.
Right, and this is Peter Cannon, Thunderbolt, number 54. As you say, the lead story is this one's for Taboo. Written and drawn by...
I don't know why that amuses me, but it does.
Okay, well, written and drawn by Pete Morisi, and you'll see he signs his name Pam.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I thought it might be PA the third or PAIII. I have no idea.
So let me tell you the little story why he signed his work Pam. Now he started in comics in the 40s, and as you'll look at his art, it's a very, very strong George Tuska influence.
I found it very golden agey.
Yeah. And it looks like George Tuska's Golden Age stuff. But Morisi, he started working the Golden Age and worked in comics for about 10 years. But, the mid-50s came along and comic book work started to dry up. And he's like, I need a real job. I've got a family. And so he took the civil servant's exam and became a police officer. And he was a police officer for 20 years. Now, during that time, he still did comic book work, just on the side, just like when, okay. But the New York Police Department, they had a rule, you could not moonlight. And so he signed Pam for anonymity. So that
probably not the time, but at this time legal problems is that if you wrote as a policeman, wrote a story about a crime and you arrested somebody for a crime that was similar, that could come up in a trial or something like that. So
very true.
I would not. Yeah. So it's probably wise one.
In the early 50s, he had a series, and Charlton published a couple issues of it, but it started at another publisher called Johnny Dynamite, and it's the most hard-boiled detective stuff that you could think of. And I'm dying to read this. There's an 80s book that reprints the whole thing as a backup feature. It's reprinted in issues of Ms. Tree. From the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, but I want to go back and get those because I just read all about Johnny Dynamite and I'm like, this sounds like an amazing book. So, but anyway, our story with Peter Cannon. He's like the most, he was orphaned and raised in a lamasery in Tibet.
I did not know that was a word until now. Until I read this. But okay, it makes sense.
Yeah. And Taboo was there with him too, and
Taboo looks like a Sikh, but I'm not sure.
He's just wearing a turban. This is just kind of a vague foreign something.
Right.
He's not a Westerner. That's what the turban's there for. But Taboo is his friend and companion. Peter Cannon is a freelance writer in the States. They've left the lamasery and come to the States, and he's kind of a reluctant superhero. Taboo has to egg him on all the time to put on the costume and go fight crime.
There's no more I don't know of anyone who's more reluctant.
And it's a breath of fresh air it's weird that the formula is he always has to be egged on every adventure.
Yeah.
But most superheroes are like, this is my duty, or like they want to go do it, and this guy has to be pushed. Right. But then he does the right thing. It's interesting. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Peter Cannon and Tabu were training.
Yeah,
and Tabu
beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, and Tabu falls victim to sleeping sickness.
Yeah.
Which is a thing, I guess.
Poor.
He must have been poisoned or something on a previous adventure.
Tabu. He lost his articles already.
Speaking articles. Yeah.
Oh, you speak in words of jest, but the dizziness that overcomes me is far from humorous.
It's weird though, because they were both raised in the same place, and yet Peter Cannon is more erudite and whatever, and Tabu is still like the noble savage who imparts the wisdom of the East to his friend who was there with him the whole time.
Yeah,
it's weird.
You've seen Murder by Death, right?
No.
It's a comedy movie about all the different detectives. You have Sam Spade character.
Sure.
You have Nick and Nora. You have Charlie Chan and Miss Marples and all that stuff. But they're all different names. But the Charlie Chan character, done by Peter Seller, his Moose on the Wall is speaking, and of all people, the author of for crying out loud, In Cold Blood.
Truman Capote.
Truman Capote is
he's in it?
The bad guy, yeah.
Oh, wow.
The Moose, the Wall. How can the smartest man in the world not know his articles? That drives me crazy. It's hilarious.
That's funny.
I
may have to see this.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's a funny movie.
So anyway, Tabu has to go to the hospital. The doctor says, "Hey, he's got the sleeping sickness, yo. You got to get this antidote." And so Peter Cannon's off to Tibet or wherever to find it.
Yeah.
Pause for station identification. We have this wonderful house ad. The greatest action heroes of all time: Captain Atom, Judo Master, Peter Cannon Thunderbolt, and the Fightin' Five, Charlton Action Hero Group, on sale now.
Well, the Fighting Five has this cool group headed by a dame.
Yeah.
Dedicated enemies dedicated enemies of and traitors to humanity.
Oh, and it's an acronym for death.
Yeah. Destroy them, Hennessy.
Oh yeah, Hank Hennessy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He must have turned traitor or something for that issue, that adventure.
I hear and obey. He's hypnotized.
Oh, right, of course.
No one says I hear and obey unless you're a super slave from the day you're born or you're hypnotized.
Right. Okay, so Peter Cannon goes
to the Himalayas and he has adventures. He gets attacked by Mongol bandits, and who tell them where he beats the crap out of them with the force of will. That's his superpower, is a power of will.
Which isn't a real superpower, but it's his training and discipline of the Far East or whatever.
It is. It's not a superpower, but it's a real power.
Yeah.
And there's actually been battles and wars that someone just had more will. It's kind of weird. I know, not G. Gordon Liddy or anything, but there's
the force is strong with this one, is what you're saying. Kinda.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's
all right. So he finds this cave, and here's a faceless one who was mentioned earlier.
Yeah, the hooded one.
The hooded one.
Who was his enemy. He was also in the Lamasery, and he's disfigured or something. And this is the arch enemy of Peter Cannon.
Mm-hmm. This is his Blofeld.
Yeah, of the I think 11 or 12 issues of Peter Cannon, he's around in roughly half of them, I think, or less. Mm-hmm. But in this cave are frozen prehistoric beasts,
mastodons and Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, and so he passes through this cave into a warm springs area or whatever after having a tough talking conversation with the hooded one.
Yeah, he sends him on there, so, you're going to die in there, so, So,
yeah. I like Peter Cannon's costume. It's cool. He had it with him on the trip, of course.
No, he did not. He had a... Tabu left a spare in the cave.
This cave?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I know, I was surprised, too.
Weird. But anyway, so
Because
Peter...
he didn't know, it seemed like he knew where he was going, but Taboo knew, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. But anyway, hey, there's dinosaurs in this dark cave.
A Saurosaurus, which is looks... It's
the horniest dinosaur of all.
Yeah.
Waka, waka, waka.
It's got one horn in his nose and about 5 or 6 coming out of his...
like kind of his big
shield
crest or whatever,
thing,
yeah.
Pretty cool looking creature.
Yeah.
Well drawn.
Yeah.
He chases them and...
The old horn stuck in the tree trunk routine goes by, but we see a Stegosaurus and stuff, and this is actually, I think, the second Peter Cannon story where he encounters dinosaurs.
Yeah, grand.
But
so he gets attacked by pygmies, and then the pygmies and him are attacked
by... The pygmies in a cave in the Himalayas. Just want you to be clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he's attacked by a dinosaur. It looks like a duck-billed dinosaur with Tyrannosaurus Rex head.
Right.
So he throws a little spear and he kills it.
Yeah.
So
and then the pygmies are like, yay!
Yeah. Okay.
And so Peter Cannon gets the
You're pretty fly for a white guy.
But anyway, Peter Cannon gets the antidote for Taboo from the pygmies and then takes him home and saves his friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And he says, I still owe you a kick in the head because Taboo kicked his butt the last time.
Right.
Not a bad thing. It's sort of... It could have been longer. That's
the trouble. It's like the Peter Cannon stories only takes up like half or 2/3 of an issue, and there could be more here.
I mean, you're going into a place with dinosaurs and pygmies and all this stuff. There could be more action. You know, you could do 10 issues on just going to a weird place like that.
Right. It could be a full arc of a story. You're right, and I do like. I mean, the action when we see it is done very well, and the panels are very striking, beautiful stuff. Morrissey was a great talent. But yeah, there could be more.
Yeah, I spend more time at a rest stop than he does in this place. I know he's in a hurry to get the antidote, and he's.
But in a comic, you can spend a lot of time because, you know, the time you can stretch it and have a lot happen in a short time. You know, so yeah, a backup feature. The Sentinels. Behold, the Sentinels is the name of the story. And this is the first of a series of backups that would run in this series. And it's, written by Gary Friedrich, who would go on to do a lot of fine work at Marvel and DC. And art by Sam Granger. And here is such a totally campy trio of superheroes.
Yeah.
I think it's campy on purpose, though.
Really? I don't know what's going on.
I'll let you go.
Okay. There's
a folk rock group
called
The Protesters, I think.
Protesters, yeah.
Like, oh boy.
And here's their song they're singing. What will we do when doomsday comes? Will we sit around on our thumbs? What will we do when the bomb goes boom? And the rubble we're all entombed. They're really gear. Barry McHire, they ain't. I don't know who Barry McHire is.
It's... What the person means is Barry Maguire, the guy who sang Eve of Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
But when gear is a weird adjective to apply to something. It's really gear.
Oh,
I know it was used, but what?
A lot of the adjectives and all this. Man, can you... What about what we're doing today? That's sick. Yeah, man, that's, you know...
Or totes adorbs or amazeballs. I get it, and this stuff will seem weird.
Actually, amazeballs are music.
I like that one a lot. But right. Okay. But it's, in my modern lens, looking back at this, it's kind of goofy. So anyway, who are the three members of the Protesters?
Okay. Rick Strong. He's brilliant mind with a grim outlook on life. So, emo lad. Cindy Carson, blonde, beautiful, and brainy. 19 years old and hopefully one of Hollywood's future Deb stars. A Deb star?
Debutante?
I know, but...
Yeah,
is
weird.
there such a thing as a Hollywood Deb star? There's debutantes and there's stars.
There's a movie called Teenage Gang Debs, and I'm like, what? But a debutante is what they're referring to.
Yeah, but Okay, but there's no such thing as a Hollywood deb star. I don't think.
I don't know.
There's some debutantes became stars, but it's sort of. All right, this is my favorite. Crunch Wilson. What a great name.
He's the Ben Grimm of this group.
Right.
But
without as much charm, though.
With none of the charm. This guy's just a butthole.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm like, this guy's in a folk rock group singing about like peace and stuff.
Actually,
this guy seems like such a redneck.
No, he's a roughneck.
Okay.
Okay. Redneck implies country, but he seems more like working class, Pluto type.
Okay.
The Doomsday Dirge. The doubters will purge. What the devil does that mean?
I don't even know. Like, if you don't think Doomsday's coming, well, you're full of it or something. But we'll purge the doubters? That seems like you're going to like, what is this, crystal knocked? What are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
It sounds pretty bad.
Does anybody think that the world's going to be here forever? I don't think anybody does. Most people don't think it's going to happen tomorrow.
Right. But I think during the Cold War, there was definitely like, well, we could go tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
They don't really look like beatniks.
No, they look really clean cut.
Well, beatniks are fair. I mean, they have little goatees sometimes.
Yeah.
But Peter and Paul and Mary are fairly clean cut. Oh, they have a little goatee, but...
Okay. Fair enough. So anyway, let's move on to the story. So they're an arguing kind of group, which is very Marvel Comics. And of course, the chick is always the one trying to smooth things over between the two guys. Very like Sue Storm.
Yeah.
So the nephew of the club owner, or the grandson, calls
the landlord.
The landlord calls them in like to come see their grandpa, and then we get a very odd scenario.
Yeah, he escaped from Russia, and he learns how to use electricity, and so he's got. He gives a belt to Rick Strong to make him lighter than air,
so he can fly.
Then Cindy Carson gets a crown for ESP.
Yeah, and then Crunch gets these gloves that'll give him super strength.
Right.
And he just says, "Hey, go fight crime." Now I'm dead.
Mm-hmm. Now fight commies and crime.
Right. Sorry. But, like, that's the whole story. And so then there will be the series of bad guys with the Sentinels. And yes, the Sentinel robots from the X-Men had already been introduced at this time.
Huh. Well, Sentinels is a Guardian, so...
Right, so... Meh. I'm not crazy about the Sentinels.
That could have been... Yeah, it's like Jim, right? It was, Gem, Jem.
Oh, the chick, the cartoon.
Yeah, she had a rock and roll group.
Yeah, and then they became superpowers. Yeah, in the 80s.
I mean, it could be done. And it could
Gem and the holograms. Yeah, but like getting like here, put on these gloves or this belt or whatever, and you have superpowers. So it's the Thunder Agents, man.
Yeah, it's kind of boring.
Yeah,
and ESP. Well, ESP is okay.
Yeah,
but super strength and flying. You want them both or something a little more pizzazz.
Right. So we have another issue of Peter Cannon Thunderbolt.
Oh, boy.
Which is, number 56. And the lead story, the Peter Cannon story, is Beware the Cobra, written and drawn by Pete Morisi.
Yep. Doing some research on it. Peter Cannon was one of the first comics to use Eastern religions as in a good light.
Yeah, probably the very first would have been the Green Llama from back in the Golden Age, and he was a Buddhist and a superhero. So interesting.
Yeah. Now it's kind of a cliche, and same thing with American Indian, knowing about nature and all this stuff. And
sure,
it's sort of, but it's kind of cool to see the first few times it's been used.
Yeah, but yeah. This is a pretty cool Peter Cannon story.
Yep.
They're all pretty cool.
All right, we begin with Peter and Taboo beating the crap out of each other.
Again, they're training. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, I'd like to have a nice big house like this where I've got a big boxing ring or whatever in my place.
Oh, Taboo says, "Can I prepare cakes out of the pan?" had to think about what the hell is he talking about. Oh yeah.
Well, just like I say, the Book of Face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Facebook. So.
Oh, actually, that sounds cool.
The Book of Face. You should start saying that. Everyone should start saying the Book of Face. But anyway,
if you could start that, that'd be cool.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. It's not going to happen.
Not with that attitude, it's not.
Yeah. Even with. Oh,
okay. So anyway, Peter and Tabu are arguing again about how much good Peter Cannon has done, but Peter as Thunderbolt, Tabu was arguing, and Peter Cannon's like, no, but I don't want to be a superhero.
Yeah, God, what a sourpuss.
I know, he's so weird. And then we get like a montage of all of his previous adventures and stuff against the Hooded One and
Eric Gore, the Man-Ape. Dum Dum Barnes is his first one he fought against.
Yeah.
Evola. She's an Egyptian priestess.
Right. I love how Gore the Man-Ape, he had what, like an ape hand?
Yeah, it drove him insane.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Oh man, look, advertisement for Atomic Age Air Rifle. Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh man, here is another classic house ad. It's the greatest subscription offer ever made. Now and for a limited time only, you can get 1 year subscription to all 4 Charlton action heroes. You have Peter Cannon, Thunderbolt, the Peacemaker, Judo Master, and Captain Atom. 24 big action-packed issues for 2 comics mailed each month for 1 full year for only $2.
Man, it sounds so cheap, but that's how much they, 25 cents or 12 cents, whatever.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's see, who else do they have? They have...
as far as we're getting the flashback of Peter Cannon's previous
there's
adventures.
Kong, and then there's...
A guy with a drill from the center of the earth. That's so cool.
The Tong, which is also the name of the mafia, like the Chinese mafia, is called the Tong.
Oh, yeah.
And his name is the Tong.
And Peter Cannon fought a mummy.
Yeah.
And he fought dinosaurs twice.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, you would think that would be like the one-time adventure. Like, hey, remember the time I saw dinosaurs? Yeah. Oh, it happens all the time to this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, dinosaurs. They're nothing. So anyway...
He wants to watch Gunga Din, which is a great movie and a good book. So
okay. Yes, Effendi. So anyway, there's this guy, the Cobra, and he's got like a...
Cobras.
Well...
He does.
Well, he does. But anyway, doesn't he use Cobra venom to create...
slaves.
To create mind slaves out of people. And so what he wants to do is he sell all these criminal organizations from around the world. He wants to sell them doctors and factory workers to work for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a pretty good racket. That's an interesting plot idea.
Yeah, it is. I'm kind of impressed.
Who does the Cobra look like to you? I can't put my finger on it. He looks like somebody.
Yeah, he does. He looks like a Marvel guy who grew a beard.
He looks like Vandal Savage. That's who he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
From DC. Vandal Savage, the immortal villain. He wore jodhpurs.
Oh, yeah. Man, I envy villains. They get to wear jodhpurs.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of villains. I remember the Justice Society had another villain who wore jodhpurs, Per Degaton. He was cool too.
It's not fair. And women can wear boots and they look like Nancy Sinatra. I wear boots. I look like Eric von Stroheim.
Right.
What's the justice in that?
I don't know. We should get some jodhpurs though.
Yeah, I should too.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want a toga.
But here's the thing: you gotta have to have jodhpurs and a puffy shirt with a cravat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got a it's not a riding stick, but it's a
riding crop.
No, it's not a crop. It's a swagger stick.
Oh, like a pimp cane?
All right. It's what
Are you
Colonel Clink? I don't think Clink had a swagger stick. I don't think it was a.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I was gonna say, are you cosplaying as like Dolomite or Superfly, like when I'm not around?
Oh no, but I should.
Right.
The Human Tornado.
Oh my gosh, I just watched both of the Dolomite movies, and they are bad, but they are awesome. It's like, and all that tough talk, jive talk. He's like, I want you out of here in 24 hours. and 23 of them are already gone. You know, he says stuff like that, or like, Dolomite put his fingers in the ground and turned the whole world around. You know, like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he's I've seen I think one of his movies. I also saw his concert film, and I think that's on there too.
I've seen the concert film,
it's
Rude.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's very vaudevillian. Here come the strippers jokes, but it's cool. It's fun.
Yeah, vaudeville gives a lot of stuff. Benny Hill and Sanford and Son.
This is such a tangent. But go ahead.
But they're nothing but vaudeville jokes.
Yeah,
and which is fine. It's the way they
it's the delivery
and all that.
Yeah. So anyway, Peter Cannon does he know what's up with the Cobra? He's springing into action.
He hears about it, and now he's got to go. So, and when the weirdest his action thing, he's running, and his foot, it's off the ground, is on the level of his head. And
he's running really fast, apparently.
But he's going through these secret tunnels, which is a really cool panel.
Yeah.
It's really
Mauricio's got some very interesting panel designs. I mean, like, here's a panel of, like, seeing there's panic across the city. You see a policeman on patrol, and then a montage of people's faces. You would see this done in Marvel a lot, like, you know, like the... Mm-hmm. But this, I don't know, it's very effective.
Yeah. I'm not sure, are they listening to the music? Or not music, listening to the news? Or are they afraid? Or what? Because you can't really... One guy, the girl looks afraid. The fat guy here looks kind of... I don't know what's going on. The other guy looks pensive. So
well, I think it's kind of one of those things. There's a range of emotion going on as this is a thing, and the Thunderbolt's got to step in. Yeah. So,
right. Well, so okay, Peter Cannon goes around and then he finds a shack that has a light on, and that's how he finds it, which is kind of convenient. For crying out loud, the whole world's looking for these people, and he just there's a light on. All right.
Right. Okay.
So he goes in and he finds out. He finds him.
He barges in on the Cobra and starts fighting all his minions.
So Cobra shoots him with his Cobra venom, and he has to use his force of will
to overcome the will sapping stuff.
Right. And it works. But so he's tied up, and then they send a Cobra, which is, I love this. The King Cobra, perhaps the most sinister embodiment of all serpentine creatures. Not really. All right, tangent time.
Okay. Again?
In my old library, they had this book, How to Raise Poisonous Snakes for Fun and Profit. They had king cobras and water moccasins and rattlesnakes and everything else, and I says, man, you gotta be crazy. Then they come to Black Mama. Says, don't do Black Mama. They're too fast and mean. And so, that must be one heck of a snake,
right?
Because king cobras kill thousands. I mean, not thousands.
I mean, but a king cobra is like the Black Widow spider. Yeah, it's dangerous, but it's not. It's the one with the reputation, not the one that's the most deadly.
I think both of them look cool.
Yeah. And Cobra, they fan out that thing on their neck when they're gonna do stuff. It looks awesome, and for a comic book, that's what you want to see. So Peter,
oh man, here it comes.
Yeah,
he's tied up. The King Cobra attacks him, and he bites him in the neck.
Yeah,
Peter Cannon bites the Cobra in the neck and knocks him or kills him.
Yeah, and then the Cobra, the guy, is scared. Peter Cannon gets loose and he starts beating him up.
And knocks him over the King Cobra, who has a open mouth, and the venom gets into him and kills him. Okay.
And then back at their the two bachelors living alone together pad with Peter Cannon and Tabu.
Nothing funny going on.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, I just realized this, but we were reading about his former cases. We were reading, Tabu is writing about him. So he's the Dr. Watson, this guy, Sherlock Holmes.
Right. He's keeping a log of the Peter Cannon casebook, which is cool.
Yeah.
And every adventure Peter thinks is going to be the last. He's like, no. And Tabu says different.
I don't know. Won't it be fun to be a superhero? It looks like fun, bashing bad guys.
Yeah.
Man, I would enjoy that.
And in a work of fiction, of course, you're going to be like, F yeah, I want to go fight crime. But
although
or I must fight crime.
Oh, I get tired
Not
of
like
movies.
needing to be convinced to do it.
Well, the convincing, we need to convince you to come save us, save the world. And I gotta think about it. I don't know. And, you know, or,
he doesn't have the kind of motivation that Batman or Spider-Man have. You know?
I mean,
Definitely.
This is really cliche. This is handled well in here, but in a lot of movies, someone gets into the future. I'm in the future, yeah, right. And or something like you get this about 5 or 10 minutes of having to convince this person to either do something, or they're in medieval times or something.
Yeah,
it gets old. We've seen it so many times,
right?
And I don't know. I bet it has. Oh yeah, I'm in the future. Okay, let's go.
Right.
There's fighting. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no chick. There's Peter Cannon. There's like one supporting character.
Yeah.
Taboo.
Yeah.
And there's no gal, no love interest, at least in the issues that I've read, which is only like a few. But it's all a little odd. Mm-hmm. So let's look in on the Sentinels. Boo.
I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
I like that you like it at least.
I don't know about that.
But let me get going. It's Where Walks the Titan, written by Gary Friedrich, art by Sam Granger. And the protesters, now they wear masks on stage, they're going on Ed Sullivan Show.
Why are they wearing masks on stage? Why don't they just wear a mask when they're the Sentinels?
Well, because they don't wear masks when they're the Sentinels.
Oh, they don't?
No.
You're right, they don't.
Look at the splash panel.
You're right.
Yeah. So that's it's an inversion of the secret identity. Like, which is a dumb idea.
Is it?
It is dumb because they're in a rock and roll band, but people obviously are going to see them some point without their masks.
Yeah.
You know, right. Kiss took the makeup off, you know, like...
Yeah, but it took a while for them to do so.
No, but I mean, after the show.
Yeah. But they're on the Ed Sullivan Show, which was huge. It was one of the biggest shows. Elvis and... When Elvis and the Beatles got on there at the same time, that's when it was like a cultural event. Sure.
And the infamous appearance of the Doors on the Ed Sullivan Show is also very well remembered. But yeah.
Yeah. And here is a colonel helping them become famous, being their agent.
And it's much like Colonel what's-his-face?
Parker,
yep.
Who is a real villain.
He's a murderer. Do you know he murdered somebody in Europe and he came to the States? That's why he never did any European engagements with Elvis. Yeah. Elvis never went overseas.
And they were begging him to go overseas.
I know.
Man, and they wouldn't...
Elvis was a multimillionaire. He probably could have been a billionaire.
Yeah. It took his wife, Priscilla, to when Elvis died, Colonel Tom Parker said, "This changes nothing." But then Priscilla looked and says, "We're about broke." And Elvis, they're still. Parker was stealing them blind.
Oh, I'm sure.
And and Elvis wanted to be an actor, and he wanted to do serious stuff, and it could have been Bye Bye Birdie, which was a musical about an Elvis guy joining the army, and it had been great in it, but Tom Parker said no. And and that's the tragedy of Elvis. Why not?
Well, he had one guy controlling his whole career instead of letting Elvis make those decisions.
I mean, he did some good stuff, but he went too far in a lot of ways. He made him famous. Would he have been famous without Colonel Tom Parker? I don't know, but it's happier with Colonel Tom Parker.
It's difficult to say. But I do love Elvis's, even though the Vegas years are like, oh, this is kind of bad. Yeah. I love the Vegas costume. You know, it's based on Captain Marvel Jr. The Vegas costume.
Really?
Yeah.
Not the leather one, but the white.
The one with the big collar and the cape and everything.
Dang.
Based on Captain Marvel Jr. Elvis loved comic books, and as a kid, Captain Marvel Jr. was his favorite. Yeah. And those are great comics, too.
There's a really fun movie called When Elvis Meets Nixon.
I've heard of that.
It's fun.
Who plays Elvis in that?
I don't know, but he's really, really good.
Okay. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah. Oh, wait, or is it a documentary or is it a movie?
It's like an HBO movie.
I'll have to check it out. Anyway, what's going on with Sentinels? Okay.
There's this guy looking for the Sentinels.
The Titan, right?
Titan. And he's really huge.
He's huge and orange, and he has super strength. He is an android, it is revealed.
Oh.
And he's at Coney Island causing problems.
And he's looking for the Sentinels, but no one knows who the Sentinels are.
Man, they need a press agent.
Right. The Colonel is falling down in his
What I don't get is some guy who's like basically from outer space or somewhere knows who they are, but the people
Nobody else does.
That's
Yeah.
weird. But anyway, the Sentinels, once they find out about it, they spring into action, and the Titan kicks their butts.
Yeah, because they have lame powers.
Like
What is flying power going to do except,
get close enough to get punched?
Yeah,
you know,
play basketball really cool with it, or
yeah,
even go steal something.
Having one superpower that's really basic like this sucks. I love the Legion of Superheroes. Maybe everybody has one power, but there's different applications to it, and everybody has a flight ring so they can all fly too.
Right. So,
but this just stinks.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a big fight,
and of course, Crunch is the guy that's got to really be the one that goes to toe with the Titan. But even he gets beat.
Yeah, and he feels bad about it too. So Crunch was getting an attitude.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah. But it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And I have no investment in this story.
No. Good idea. I like the idea of it, but the general idea of having rock and roll group being superheroes.
Yeah.
Kiss did that in the
They
movies.
did.
Yeah.
In the movie, yeah, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Yeah.
But also there was 2 issues of Marvel Comics that they did as superheroes. It was pretty fun. They were teenagers that were given these mystic talismans that allowed them to become superheroes. How cool is that? They fought Doctor Doom.
Wow. Okay.
On their first time out.
Yeah.
They fought Doctor Doom. But anyway, that was kind of cool. But better than this, the Sentinels are stupid. I got to say no to the Sentinels.
Yeah. Okay.
So the last book for today, and it's 1970s Charlton, and it's another adventure series, and this is really cool. This was directly created to capitalize on the popularity in general of the kung fu movies, that were happening in the 70s.
Kung Fu show,
but specifically to be like kung fu. You're right. The show. This is in the Wild West time, and he's a Chinaman in America, so it's just like kung fu. This is Yang, number 10.
Yeah, and I think in kung fu the show is Chang. I think.
Is it?
I think so.
Kang.
Kang. I think so.
Something like that. Okay.
And that's that could have been so great if they had Bruce Lee. He wanted to do that.
Yeah.
They said, we can't have a Chinaman playing a Chinaman. That's being absurd.
What? They play it all the time, every day of their lives.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can you imagine how good that show would have been? If it was the worst show ever, if they had.
It is a good show. But yeah, if they had Bruce Lee, it would have been the greatest thing ever.
I know. People's minds would blow.
I mean, here's the thing. If that was coming out, I mean, this is obviously television, so it's years before home video. But that would be a bestseller as a DVD set constantly. Who buys Kung Fu on DVD now? Somebody.
Yeah.
But if it was Bruce Lee,
it could have been a real cultural.
Because many people have Bruce Lee movies on DVD.
Yeah.
Most people. Oh yeah, I got End of the Dragon, of course.
End of the Dragon's a great movie, and the parody of that Kentucky Fried Movie has Fistful of Yen is fantastic too.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie, and I don't know, he has a lot of power, and that Bruce Lee died too soon. Would he have lived if he would have been in America? I don't know. But it would have been awesome. And because the guy who plays Kung Fu, David Carradine, now he doesn't know Kung Fu. And he died in Thailand.
Yes, under weird things that we won't talk about.
Yep.
But let's talk about this Yang. It's number 10. The story is Partners in Death, written by Joe Gill, with art by Warren Sattler.
Best art of the day.
Yeah? Better than Morrissey?
Yeah.
Who did Thunderbolt? Peter Cannon?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. Thunderbolt looks like he has socks on. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really is. He was the concept. He drew up the concept. Peter Cannon presented it, and didn't have a color guide for the shoes, and so they got left white. They should have been black or blue or something else. Yeah. That's really the story.
It's too golden agey for me.
Okay.
I appreciate golden age stuff, but I really don't like the style.
Okay.
But,
that's fair. I mean, you could say a Silver Age book that's golden age feely is pretty out of step. Because that was a Silver Age book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, I guess it's a bit too simple as far as plots and things.
Yeah, and that's also very Golden Agey.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
I need a little bit more.
yeah. I mean, Golden Age heroes are great, but you go and read Golden Age comics, and those plots are kind of meh.
I
There's
stopped the robbers. Yay!
Yeah, or I stopped the Nazi saboteur or
Yeah.
whatever. It's all pretty basic. Although I think Peter Can and Thunderbolt is ambitious in other areas. It's certainly style-wise with some of the paneling and stuff. It's really beautiful. But
It looks better without the superhero in it.
interesting.
The backgrounds are really nice.
Yeah. So, but let's talk about Yang.
Okay, Yang has been shot at by 2 deputies, apparently. One of them is Apache John.
Like Injun Joe.
Yeah, and they're shooting at him. Let's see. And, Kang fakes his death and beats the crap out of Injun Joe. Or Apache John, you got me going.
Sorry. But yeah, Yang.
Yeah, he takes Apache John's knife and kills Apache John's buddy, steals a horse, and runs off.
Now there's like the villain of this piece is this creepy sea captain who's got this nasty beard and like weird like Farrah flip mullet going on.
Yeah, and he's wearing a T-shirt with I don't know, a navy coat. It's kind of weird. He's got a navy hat, so.
Yeah.
All right, so he Kang thinks that Yang.
With
I'm
a
sorry. Yang thinks that Yin is that. So we have the Yin and Yang thing.
Right. And is Yen the chick?
Yeah, Yin is the beautiful babe.
She and the 2 of them like love each other, but she wants him dead. I don't understand why, because I haven't read the rest of the series. I read like one other issue of Yang before.
Women are all like that, huh?
Wow.
No.
Careful, you get yourself in trouble one of these days.
Yeah, I already am. So Yang wants to go back to China. And so he goes to San Francisco, I don't know, to do something with Yen. I'm not sure what.
He loves her. He wants to see her or something, anyway.
Yeah, so he's checking up on Captain Keegan, is a sea captain. He's back. He's got this thing. He buys Chinese slaves and he sends back opium. So he's got a pretty good deal going.
He's sending opium to China? I don't understand that.
Oh,
isn't that where it comes from?
No.
Oh.
They all right. China is very insular. They Middle Kingdom and all that. Western countries would go to China and try to sell them stuff. They didn't want anything. Our stuff's better than yours. And there's nothing they wanted. They didn't care. So all the Western countries buying stuff in China, silk and all this, but all they were giving back to them was cash. So they found something that the Chinese liked, and that was opium, which comes from Afghanistan, India.
Oh, that's right.
That's where we got the Opium Wars.
Interesting. Okay, I'm a history buff, but I don't really. That's a blank spot in my knowledge.
There's lots of blank spots in mine too. Mostly alcohol induced.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, probably me too.
But I don't know why they're growing. It's in San Francisco Harbor.
Maybe it's a stopover from part of the smuggling operation. Maybe it's more complicated. It's just a port, a stopover, perhaps.
Yeah, stopover from across the largest ocean on the face of the
It's a comic book. Can we move on?
All right. So, it sticks in my craw.
Okay.
So, Yang finds out that she's in a junk.
Oh yeah, those cool sailboats of theirs.
Yep.
Theirs, the Chinese folks. Let me be clear.
So she pulls a gun on them, and then they fall in love.
Of course.
So then Keegan finds out where Yen is, and he doesn't like Yen either. So he attacks the junk. So she thinks that he brought Keegan with him, but
that Yang did. Yeah.
So
and there's some kung fu fighting.
Yeah. It's okay. Well drawn. Not bad.
Yeah. I don't like that Captain Keegan. He's just so scuzzy. Ugh.
Yeah.
But I guess you're supposed to feel that way about him.
Right.
He's real slimy and scummy, so.
Mm-hmm. But Yang's kicking his butt.
And then he gets captured and whipped and stuff.
By Yen.
Didn't he just save her?
Yeah. The fool. His only weakness is he trusts me.
Yeah.
So he's being whipped by one of her minions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Then he says, I meant to kill you, but I cannot. Oh, Yang, I'm only a foolish woman, as you said. So now they get shot at. Oh, she says this after she hears that Keegan's coming by and shooting at him again. So he lets him go.
So much back and forth.
So he goes to the boat and knocks Keegan's killers.
Mm-hmm.
Keegan's cookie killers. And he fights Keegan, and Keegan's almost drowning, but he saves him.
Yeah.
And then he, for the second time, Yang gets hit in the head with the club.
Yeah.
So, what are they doing? They figure that Yin is going to come after Yang, so he's the bait. So she comes in, dressed in a cape and blue and rather tight blue.
Yeah. It looks good.
A red cape and a blue suit with a skull for a brooch.
Of course. What is she, like Dracula's daughter?
Apparently so.
I don't know.
So they get into another fight. They throw Yang a gun, but it's unloaded, so he just throws it at somebody and bonks him on the head.
Like in every old movie serial, somebody empties their revolver and then throws it at somebody.
Yeah. Yin's minions come, and the nice huge fight.
Yeah. Captain Keegan gets kicked in the face again,
right?
Which is very satisfying to me.
Yeah. Oh, and she gonna shoot him, but she misses, and he escapes.
And then she cries. So Yin is very conflicted.
Yeah.
Yang is not, but you know.
Yeah. Well, Yang's he likes her too, but he's afraid of her. Got two interesting letters.
Oh, cool! Fan letters.
Somebody comes in and explains all about the yin and yang symbol, which is kind of cool.
Right on.
Reads like Encyclopedia. Well done. And this other guy, by Bill Wu, says, hey, somebody who speaks good English, who is
an Asian character.
And he really likes that. And I thought that was very interesting.
Well, right. I mean, you have to think, even in the 1970s, Asian characters are still rather stereotyped. And probably even Shang-Chi is a bit of the... He talks so much in that, hokey...
Yeah.
Not necessarily broken English, but, like... the mystery of the Orient kind of thing. It's like, can he just be a person? Right. So I like that. Yang is a bit more real.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies is called The Wind and the Lion.
Okay. And
it's about Teddy Roosevelt and this Razuli guy who is a bandit. But Teddy Roosevelt's having this party, and the Japanese ambassador's there. And one of these rich American businessmen turns to the Japanese, you lucky soupy? And the guy nods. And then about 5 minutes later, the Japanese ambassador gets up and gives this wonderful speech. And then sits down and looks at, I think it's J.P. Morgan, and he says, you lucky speechy? But the speech was wonderfully done in perfect English, and it was really, really cool. So, good movie.
That's a good way to stick it to somebody, ignorance. But so this is the end of our big look at Charlton.
Yay.
Do you have any? Do you have any final thoughts about? I mean, it's not like the last time we're gonna look at Charlton books, but the last episodes dedicated to Charlton for a while.
It's a sad, it's a wasted moment. I mean, an opportunity. It could have been so great, but it's just meh. and just
Yeah.
mediocre. Good ideas that didn't come to fruition. Just
Yeah.
poorly done.
It's too bad because, the company itself was so indifferent to their comic book line. They just...
Like GM. Ha ha. Dun, 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 dun.
And it's too bad because if they'd have cared
Chrysler.
and tried, Charlton could have competed very well with Marvel and DC and could still be around, could still be a force in comics, as rather than a what could have been that we've spent 4 episodes looking at.
That's sad.
Yeah.
What's up for next week?
I don't, or I do know. Let's take a look. What comics are we going to look at next week?
Okay.
We have Crime Does Not Pay, number 99.
I don't know about that.
That's some golden age, some 50s crime stuff.
Oh, very well done. Chip
Yeah.
Gardner, Private Eye.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we've got the Mighty Marvel Western, number 6. We'll see the Rawhide Kid and Kid Colt and the Two Gun Kid. And
Doom in the Desert. That's cool.
And this is an sort of obscure golden age thing. Captain Arrow Comics, number 22. And this has come out from 1945. And this is so much like wartime propaganda throughout this issue. Interesting stuff.
The Ghost of Von Richthofen.
Yeah. And we've got some Superman. We've got Superman number 238. And Superman number 242.
Goodness, the Ultimate Battle.
Some 70s stuff written by Denny.
Not the Ultimate Battle.
Probably not. Some 70s stuff written by Danny O'Neill, plus some cool Silver Age backups. So, yay.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that's what we got going for next week.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Just want to remind listeners again, Comic Reflections is a proud member of Rhymes with Geek Podcast Network. Check out our show and lots of other cool stuff at rhymeswithgeek.com.